Ndaimani. I am a member of staff with the University of Zimbabwe, Department of Geography and Environmental Science. I've been with the university for quite some time now, since 2014. It has been quite an exciting experience, and I was able to learn quite a lot of things during the time I worked for the university. I also have got some considerable experience as a terrestrial ecologist, having worked for the country's wildlife authority since 2005 all the way to 2014. At that time, I was working as a terrestrial ecologist in one of the major national parks of the country. And amongst my research interests are things like geospatial analysis, Earth observation, and this is with particular emphasis on wildlife ecology. So most of the research that I do is linked to wildlife research. I also have got quite a number of publications to my name um, on Google Scholar that can be checked. And these publications include work on monitoring of animal movement, particularly species like elephant. Also monitored the movement of wild dogs, sables, amongst several other species of interest. So there is a number of publications that are available online if you are really interested in knowing the kind of output we produce. So the question is, how did I develop this interest? During the time I worked as an ecologist for the country's Parks and Wildlife Management Authority, we faced several problems, challenges in terms of resources, lack of vehicles, lack of fuel. So in terms of food work, there wasn't enough. But at the same time, there was need for production of periodic reports. So as a result, we started using Earth observation as a method to try and understand some patterns in the utilization of the landscape by target animals, but based on images and other Earth observation material that are available online. So as a result, we started to answer some key questions on how animals utilize the landscape. And this is when I also started to develop interest in remote sensing, geospatial analysis. So I enrolled for a postgraduate degree with the University of Zimbabwe. That was around 2009. And ever since I developed that interest, work has been ongoing, and even in terms of output, there's quite a lot of output which is available. And then at the national level, we have also been running quite a number of projects that have proved to be quite useful in terms of management of our resources. One project in particular we might want to talk about is monitoring of elephant movement in some of the major national parks of the country. This was done since 2014. We actually fitted some tracking devices on elephants, several of them, I think in excess of 20 at the moment. And what we are basically doing is we are monitoring their movement and trying to understand how they utilize the landscape. And this information has been of particular importance in terms of deployment of law enforcement agents. Instead of doing random deployment of law enforcement agents, the deployment is now strategic. It's actually based on monitoring of movement of the animals in the landscape. We also started some project on monitoring of vulture movement across the protected areas of the country. And why would we want to monitor the movement of vultures? They are of particular interest because they are a threatened species in terms of their numbers. The populations are actually threatened, and there is is speculation that if they are properly monitored and the tracking devices that are used to monitor them, they've got a fixed rate which is of high frequency. We could actually use that information to try and detect carcasses of animals that have been poached or that have actually died of natural causes in the landscape. So this research has been very interesting, and up to now we have started to get some useful insights on how the voucher as a species utilizes the landscape, and also how that information can be used to detect evidence of poaching in the what in the landscape. The work on vouchers has been ongoing, and up to now we have downloaded quite a number of fixes that have started to give us useful insights in that field. So just recently, we have also started to expand our efforts in the direction of monitoring lion movement, especially in landscapes that have both people and wildlife, and these two sort of coexist, and the problems that are normally associated with that kind of coexistence are linked to human-lion conflict, things like attacks of the lions on livestock and also attacks on humans. This has actually been a major thing in most of our rural landscapes that lie adjacent to wildlife areas. The Save Valley Conservancy of particular mention was this is a landscape that was traditionally a conservancy, and it was primarily set aside for the conservation of wildlife. And recently, as a result of expansion of agriculture, we have had new communities that have settled in that landscape. And as a result, there are lots of reports on livestock attacks. So what we are basically doing is we are monitoring the movement of lions in that landscape and using a technology called geofencing. So if the lion is within a landscape which is primarily a wildlife area, the tracking device is programmed to take position fixes after every 1 hour. But the moment it crosses a geofence into a communal area, the caller now takes fixes at 5 minutes interval. And as a result, we can actually monitor near real time the movement of the lions in the landscape. And the purpose of such monitoring is to try and detect possible attacks on livestock and humans from the lions in time. And once that detection has been met, excuse me, and once that detection has been met, it's now possible to actually approach law enforcement agents such as the Parks and Wildlife Management Authority. They have got the mandate to try and minimize the attacks. So they come in and also try to help the communities. The rural district councils also have got that capacity. So at least with that approach, we have hope that in the long run we'll be able to reduce the amount of human wildlife conflict which occurs in those landscapes. This kind of technology has not only been applied for lion, but we have also tried to apply it for elephants with the specific objective of trying to also enhance law enforcement effort in that landscape. It has also been applied for buffalo and cattle for the purpose of trying to detect the pathways for transmission of zoonotic diseases. We know, for instance, that when buffaloes meet and mix with cattle, there is chance for transmission of diseases such as foot and mouth, and this will normally result in major losses in terms of the cattle head. So as a result, we want to understand the pathways of transmission of those diseases between the cattle and the buffaloes, and for the purpose of trying to intervene and also reduce the incidence of those diseases, especially amongst livestock production communities. And we have also applied that technology to other things like several other animals that are found in the landscape. The list is long, and these projects have been particularly of national interest. For instance, the Zimbabwe National Geospatial Space Agency has started to develop interest in some of these projects because they contribute directly to productivity, especially in the major sectors of the economy. ZINSA, our own space agency, was launched last year, 2018. So we are now talking about a year since it was launched. And it was primarily launched, established under the Act, the Research Act, I think it's Chapter 10 of 22. We need to check on that. It might not be that specific. But the key objectives of the Space Agency is to try and contribute to national development through geospatial analysis and Earth observation. It has been a key skills shortage area. We don't have a lot of people who have been pursuing that field. And similar to other space agencies that have been established also in other countries, there are a number of focus areas which include space engineering and the need to launch even our own satellites. At the moment, I think there are several African countries, in excess of three, that have successfully launched the satellites for the specific purpose of answering particular questions that relate to national development. Another key facet of ZINSA is geospatial analysis and Earth observation. So this is the area where Earth observation and geospatial analysis derived data can actually be used to answer questions that are of national interest. In Zimbabwe, for example, we've got key sectors like the mining sector. For a long time, we have continued to mine, and our reserves have largely been estimated. And but with advancements in Earth observation and related technologies, it has now become more and more possible to apply satellite remote sensing and other forms of Earth observation to try and estimate abundance as well as occurrence of key mineral resources in the country. So if we are successful in applying Earth observation to try and understand the amount of the mineral reserves that are there in the country, that will definitely help, especially in terms of planning for marketing purposes and also for mining operations and even issue of mining licenses and related things. Earth observation has also been used to try and improve productivity in the agricultural sector. Thinking with particular reference to precision farming. So for a long time within Zimbabwe and also other developing countries, uh, the application of fertilizers has actually been blanket without knowledge of the in-field spatial variations in the soil nutrients. So with the application of Earth observation, it is now possible to really map distribution of key soil nutrients like nitrogen. And then when it comes to application, we concentrate the application in areas where there is need. At the same time, trying to avoid the areas where there is no need. So this kind of approach, as you can see, naturally saves fertilizer when you're applying it and enhances productivity. So there are other applications of space of Earth observation, especially to agriculture, which include characterization of our landscape in terms of rainfall temperature and other key climatic variables that are key when it comes to agricultural production in the country. So with the space agency and research in that direction, Um, we are convinced that productivity is going to be enhanced in the future once we've got some key research outputs that have been made possible through the Space Agency. There are also things related to disease, occurrence of tropical diseases such as bilharzia. They've been of particular interest, especially in the country, with a lot of resources being directed towards trying to alleviate that problem. Mass drug administration and assessments that target to establish whether the intervention has been quite successful. So, Earth observation and geospatial analysis has also been particularly instrumental in trying to understand those spatial dynamics, especially in terms of occurrence of diseases and the factors that cause them. And so the Space Agency is also looking at these things because we think they are quite key. It is actually one of the major things that is occurred to Zimbabwe as a country over the recent past, and we seriously have hope that in the foreseeable future we might be able to also launch our own satellite missions that are targeted at specific tasks and aimed to actually address particular problems within our economy. So as an economy, I've got this feeling that the space agency is going to contribute a lot to the dream that we have in terms of becoming a middle-income economy by the year 2030. Um, so in brief, this talk has been trying to emphasize the importance of geospatial analysis and Earth observation as a skill in trying to solve problems that are available in our economy and in the country. And I would also want to emphasize the fact that it is still a skills shortage area, and we are looking forward to a lot of people joining the board and directing their effort in trying to understand these dynamics based on Earth observation and spatial analysis kind of approach. I think we have come to the end of this presentation. I would like to thank you, and feel free to get in contact with me on my email is hndaimani@gmail.com. You can also get in contact with me on my cell number 0773 473 538. I hope you have a good day. Thank you so much for your time.